Steve, I was hoping you could do a quick introduction of yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do here at Home Sweet Home.
Sure, yeah. My name's Steve Tassio. I've been at Home Sweet Home Ministries for a little over 4 years. I have worked multiple positions, anywhere from the front desk, actually originally a volunteer for the co-op, doing some deliveries and pickups. And then I moved to the front desk where I was helping with our residents. Was a part of a program for Bridge of Hope for a little while, and then I've landed as Case Manager Supervisor. I've been doing that for almost a full year at this point, so I've kind of ran the gamut of things I've seen and been a part of here.
Yeah, so you've seen all sorts of different people that we serve in all sorts of different capacities over those 4 years. Cool. Well, we're talking about the importance of being trauma-informed in our work, and I was hoping you had a story about how you see the importance of understanding trauma and its effects being very influential in our work with people. So if you have a person or that type of thing that you could share with us to talk about how important it is to understand trauma and its effects in our work.
Sure, yeah. Almost everyone we do deal with at Home Sweet Home has some kind of trauma. We might not know it for a little while. There's that gap of while we're trying to build a relationship with someone and they're feeling safe and comfortable, we learn more and more about their story and maybe what's gone on. But specifically one that I remember when I was working the front desk was with a younger female that had been through years of domestic violence. I knew that from just basic questions that we had gotten kind of without much relationship, and I knew as I learned more about her, just how deep that trauma had been for years. And being a strong woman, she had put up walls in order to get past that and survive through those things, and trying her best to do what's best for herself, and actually she had kids. As a male who knew that was a sensitive topic, being trauma-informed care for me meant that I really tried to make it a safe interaction all the time. I tried to take, when she would have cues such as very little eye contact with me, maybe the tone of voice was never happy-go-lucky, it doesn't need to be that, but it was very cut and dry. If there was anything that needed to be discussed from a guideline standpoint, or to talk about, hey, would you be willing to do X, or can you do Y for us, and try to figure out what are the boundaries here at Home Sweet Home shelter life. A lot of times it would come across as dismissive from her, or at points argumentative. Knowing what I knew about her and her story as much as I could know, I was able to start framing how I would talk with her in a different light. From my own personal point of view, knowing that it wasn't personal attacks on what I was saying, or on me, or I was doing a bad job, but knowing that people in her past had treated her a certain way, had dismissed her, had not held her in esteem, had obviously probably physically and verbally abused her. As a male at the front desk, I had to be really careful about my interactions, and that would be trying to have it be in the open, not trying to have any discussions that were in a tight space, or that didn't have maybe blinds that were down in a room. Those are all subtle little things that need to be in place. Also just having the ability to be patient over time when someone is argumentative, to know that I have the capacity in myself, hopefully, and the resilience to take on that maybe immediate verbal aggression, knowing that it's not with a situation. She's trying to navigate a new rhythm with Home Sweet Home and a new environment, and trying to figure out, am I safe here emotionally, spiritually, physically? And that takes time. And so just waiting that out and patiently knowing that that's the case. That lens is just really important to know that she has trauma.
Mentioning the lens, one of the things that we will talk about is putting on our trauma glasses, or our trauma-informed glasses. I guess, talk about how you would see it potentially going if you did not understand her with those trauma glasses. How do you think things would have gone with
Sure, I know from my standpoint, just my own behaviors, I would take on unnecessary stress as an employee, because I'm thinking every little interaction is about what I'm doing wrong, or they're out to get me. Being able to look at someone and when you're interacting, and if there's an issue, not saying, okay, what's wrong with this person, but maybe reframing it and saying, what has happened to this person, gives us the ability to at Home Sweet Home, like something that as a case manager supervisor that I try to instill in like the people I supervise, is that we want to have the underlying mission and ethics that are kind of undergirding the guidelines. And the guidelines might need to change, the guidelines might need to adjust. We as a staff might need to make special accommodations here and there while still setting boundaries and guidelines, all that, but knowing that like we want to fulfill the ethic, not at the expense of the interaction and the guidelines. Like we really want to try to make those trauma-informed decisions. And so if that wasn't in place and that mindset wasn't in place, I think we would have a lot more aggression going on in our interactions, and people would be leaving hurt more than restored. They would be, and when you enter Home Sweet Home, right when you come into the lobby, it says, "Hope for all who enter," and we talk about that a lot. And it would pain me to know that we're not taking their story, we're not taking their story into consideration and trying to pair that accurately with trauma and trying to find actual hope in their situation, and not just having a cookie cutter way of dealing with every single person. And so people would be leaving with very little hope, feeling discouraged, feeling like the system got them again, and we don't want that to happen. Yeah.
I think that's a really good reminder of the importance of thinking from the trauma-informed perspective. Is there anything else around understanding trauma and its effects that you want to share with us?
I think it's interesting to think that any person could have a trauma in their lives that was either ongoing for years possibly, or maybe something acute that led to that, but that the people that even you work with that might be helping at any part of your job, they themselves or you as a person might have trauma that is playing itself out in all these really interesting ways in our behaviors and our lens of how we view others, and it's really, really complicated. And so like loving people and showing grace comes at the expense sometimes of our, ourselves, our emotions, and being able to kind of leave our egos at the door when we're dealing with people, and our fellow employees, our coworkers, to know that like our interaction might not just be what it is on face value.
Right.
And that gives me hope, because there could be reasons for missed communications and problems that aren't just surface level, and you don't have to take that home with you. You can think about it and really get to enjoy the person for their strengths and all they have, going for themselves. So,
like, you said it gives you hope, and we get back to that hope for all who enter slogan, and we're serious. We mean that for ourselves, in addition to the people that we serve. Don't we?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your help with this, and thanks for the work that you do.
You're welcome. Thanks everybody for a night in the car. Appreciate it so much. It's great.